Steve, you didn't mention my haircut. I don't know.
Tommy?
Tommy came over.
You're a little higher in here.
Tommy, big fan of heated rivalry. Tommy came over and cut my hair.
It does look good.
Billy's up to 108,000 subscribers. Oh my God. I said yesterday at the beginning of the show, I said, we're about to lose a few. You know me, willing to dump subscribers and say, in order to say what I got to say. And yesterday I had to say it. We had Dean Cain on, who, as you know, is an ICE spokesperson, signed up for ICE. But I said it from the top. I'm a loyal friend. Dean signed up for the right reasons. He wanted to get the bad hombres out. He wanted to get the rapists and murderers and criminals who are trying to avoid deportation and hiding in, different shadows of different cities. He wanted to get them out. That's what he did it. He did it for country. He was a little less willing to admit that it has gone sideways. He was still holding, and I realized it later after the interview that it was talking points, because I heard someone else saying, you put your hands on an officer. And then I went and I looked at the New York Times play-by-play, frame-by-frame video, and at one point, the man's hand to brace himself touched one of the ICE agents' side. And it was for a total of about 3/4 of a second, just to brace, and then moved off. It was a bare hand, but that was enough for the talking points to go out that a protester had laid hands on an ICE agent. It's really sad what's happening. The gaslighting of America is going very poorly for the Trump administration. It's failing miserably. As George Orwell wrote in 1984, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. We all saw it. The New York Times is out with a video this morning that is, it is beyond conclusive. Did we go with that? It's long, but it is the most conclusive thing there is. And I figure let's do it and be done with it. And then we will move on. But this is it. This is it. And this is why Donald Trump met yesterday with Kristi Noem for 2 hours behind closed doors. And what did I say on the episode yesterday? She will be fired by the end of the week. And I said, Tim, I said to Dean Cain, do you want to bet? We have a $20 bet. He said, oh, no. Nope, he's going to stand behind her. I said, really? You don't think she's going to be the fall girl? She absolutely will. And I think she goes down this week. If not, I'm happy to Venmo Dean Cain $20. Okay? The Diener. But just watch this video. I'm telling you, this is it, folks. And then we move on. But it's important to watch. Yeah.
Federal agents shot and killed 37-year-old Alex Pretti in Minneapolis on Saturday. Officials said he approached agents with a handgun intending to massacre them.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic.
Bye, Greg.
This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
But
that is a stone cold lie. A stone cold lie. This looks like a situation where a man arrived on the scene to inflict maximum damage on. Come on, Kristi. How dumb do you think people are?
the Times analysis of video footage from the scene and the moments when two officers opened fire clearly contradict federal government statements. Pretti does not appear to pose a threat to agents. In fact, at several critical junctures, he's outnumbered and under their control. Here are
Take it wide.
that reveal what happened. We see Pretti walking about filming a group of protesters who are speaking with a federal agent. He's holding a cell phone in one hand. The other hand is empty. It's just over 30 seconds before the shooting when a protester is pushed to the ground. Pretti steps between her and the agent who'd shoved her, briefly putting his hand on the agent's waist. The agent pepper sprays Pretti's face. We can see Pretti is still holding his phone in one hand, while holding his other hand up to protect himself against the spray. Contrary to statements by federal officials, he's made no threatening movements towards agents. Pretti, who had a firearms permit, carries a gun holstered on his right hip, but he doesn't reach for it, and it appears agents are unaware the gun is even there.
He never reaches
He
for
reaches toward the protester, apparently trying to help her up, while agents begin grabbing him from behind. He tries to pull away, and again, he makes no threatening movements towards the agents. But agents pull him backwards and force him to the ground. Then, shots ring out.
it. Jesus.
Now we'll slow things down so each moment is clear. Here is Pretti. Several agents are restraining him, and this is the Border Patrol agent who will shoot him first. This appears to be when agents first notice that Pretti is carrying a firearm and yell that he has a gun. Watching the same moment from a different angle, the agent who first pepper sprayed Pretti beats him several times with the spray canister. We can see that both of Pretti's arms are pinned down by his head. This agent in gray reaches to remove Pretti's weapon from his hip. As this agent unholsters his gun, nudges the agent in gray out of the way, and fires. Let's rewind and focus on the agent who shoots first. Just seconds before he fired, he was facing away from Pretti and focusing on an entirely different situation as he tries to spray a nearby woman with an irritant. The spray appears to malfunction and the agent turns as he adjusts it. That's when someone yells that Pretti has a gun. And around 5 seconds after fully turning his attention toward Pretti, the agent draws his weapon and shoots. His arm visibly recoils at the first shot. The firearm has clearly been removed from the scrum when the first shots are fired toward Pretti at close range. The officer who disarmed Pretti can be seen reacting to the sound of the first shot, looking back toward the skirmish. The shooter was standing behind Pretti and not under direct threat, contradicting statements from Homeland Security officials that he fired defensive shots. He also has a vantage point to see the gun pulled from the scene, but it's unclear if he did, and whether he thought a weapon was still on Pretti. He then fires 3 more shots from behind Pretti, whose arms are down as he appears to brace himself against the pavement. In one hand, he still holds his phone, and in his other, his glasses. The agent in gray who removed Pretti's gun carries it across the street. Pretti is disarmed and falling to the ground. But the agent who first pepper sprayed Pretti and later beat him with a canister also pulls out his gun. From a distance, despite the fact that Pretti is lying motionless on the ground, these 2 agents fire 6 more shots. Neither is under threat.
You stand with ICE?
In total, the agents fire 10 shots in 5 seconds. After the shooting, an agent kneeling next to Pretti's body asks where the gun is.
Where's the gun?
Showing
You
that
yelled
not
gun!
all of the officers seem to know the weapon had been removed. Agents appear to begin giving medical aid. About 31 seconds elapsed from the time agents first physically engaged Pretti to the moment the last shot was fired.
Okay. Someone I saw, we popped up a comment there. I stand with ICE. I think you can listen. There's no demonization of anyone in our chat for standing with ICE. I think, look, I stand with ICE in the as it went out as an original mission to remove the criminals and the murderers and the rapists and the people avoiding deportation and hiding in different apartments and the child molesters. We all stand with ICE in that regard. But you also have to acknowledge very clearly that the mission has gone completely off the rails. And I think that's a lack of training. It's a lack of training. It's a rushed It's a rushed process to throw all these people together, and they're untrained. They panicked in situation. Whoa, whoa. They got their guns and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And bang, bang, bang. 10 shots of a VA nurse. If that's not enough to say the guy never took his gun out. Remember, Second Amendment people are going crazy. The NRA lobby, all the people, Joy Shmeha carries a piece in her glove compartment. She has a permit to carry, one of our own. They're the most pissed. He's allowed to carry wherever he goes. He's clearly a good person. And this has just gone off the rails. And now here we go. The president, like I told you, held a 2-hour meeting with Kristi Noem yesterday. I think she's on her way out. She's got to be. Greg Bovino, Border Patrol, he's been removed. He's just been blatantly lying. He and Kristi Noem lying in unison to the American people. I don't know why the buck doesn't stop all the way up at the top, but this is the way it works. You know, the president gets coverage by firing these two people who are prominently featured, and they probably know this is part of the dance. So off you go. Donald Trump also said he had a very good call with Governor Walz, Tim Walz. I'd love to be on that phone. A very good call, huh? We had a very good call, Tim and I, it's just me and Tim, two elected officials, a very good call. He said they're on a similar wavelength. This is, oh my God, this is how you walk it back. Border czar Tom Homan, who's as subtle as a sledgehammer, is taking over on the scene. He's a protester whisperer. Can't imagine that goes well. Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, who is a child, I remind you, said Pretti's killing occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders. Shut up. You are a child. She's the age of my oldest daughter. Oh, my God. Stop with the political division as a this little girl is standing up going, it's a result of deliberate resistance by Democrat leaders. Shut up. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana is calling for a full joint federal and state investigation. Hear, hear. This cannot just be a federal investigation that covers these yahoos who don't know what they're doing. Mike Pence, we haven't heard from old Mike Pence in a while. Poor Mike. The images are deeply troubling, he said. A full and transparent investigation must take place immediately. I think we have to stand with that. The conclusion here is that it's gotten too damn hot. And Trump has no skills nor interest in de-escalation until he sees what's happening, and he would escalate if it was working in his favor. No part of the internal compass would say de-escalate. It's the right thing to do. It's just clearly not going his way. It is a losing issue. The polls reflect it. Right? The mission to remove unwilling criminals is not going well. The training's too weak. These people have no experience to handle hot situations. So let's get that done. I'm so sick and it's amazing to me is the lies, the gaslighting of us, the gaslighting of America. It's like they're not believing it. Keep going. You get no credit for anything you do at this point because the first mission was to gaslight everybody, force feed a lie, and have that work. When it didn't, this is the tipping point. Now you back it up. Nothing is based in morality or principles. And remember, Trump said, the only thing stopping me on the world stage, and presumably on our stage too, is my own morality, my own mind. Woo, the hubris. It is deep. Okay. What do you think about? There's a big trial going on in California today, in Los Angeles today. Social media, tech CEOs are on trial. Mark Zuckerberg is in downtown Los Angeles. Long-awaited series of trials is kicking off in Superior Court. Today, hundreds of U.S. families are alleging that Meta, Snap, TikTok, and YouTube's platforms harm children. Once young people are hooked, the plaintiffs allege, they fall prey to depression and eating disorders, self-harm, other mental health issues. Approximately 1,600 plaintiffs are included in the proceedings involving more than 350 families, 250 school districts. Wow. It's expected to take, the initial trial is expected to take 6 to 8 weeks. And there's always one sort of person that like Prince Harry is the lead plaintiff in the case against the British media for invasion of privacy and defamation. There is a 19-year-old girl who goes by the initials KGM. She says she began using social media at 10 years old, to which I pause and say to the parents, you let your 10-year-old on social media? Part of that's on you. She says she began at 10, alleging addictive design, including frequent notifications, and it fostered her dependency on the platforms, contributed to anxiety and depression. She also alleges that recommendation features suggested harmful body image content and led her to connect with predatory adults. I agree with all of that. I agree that the idea that these social media tech CEOs are going to try to say it's free will to use our product, I don't think so. This is the new fight against big tobacco. Big tobacco, this is the same damn thing. It is designed for addiction. There are too many whistleblowers, and it's the death of us, and it's too addictive. Social media is Las Vegas. I've said this before. It's Las Vegas. You go to Las Vegas, and they pump oxygen in the room, and you go with the boys, and your sweet wife is saying goodbye, and there she goes. And what happens? Your wheels just come entirely off, right? Not everybody, but how many boys' trips end in, the movie The Hangover? What the hell did I just do? Total dysregulation. The booze, then the drugs, then the hookers, then the money, the gambling, the human being, certainly the male human being, is not really wired to fight against all of that. It's overwhelming. Social media is that in your palm. It's too much for the human being, and they know it. So, as always, to me, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I don't know why we have such a problem acknowledging that. Almost in every case, the truth lies in the middle, right? Two things can be true at the same time. But these guys definitely need some accountability, in my opinion. And parents have got to step up. And with your schools, you got to get together. I'm so glad. My kids, I don't know why. My daughter's in their 20s. All of them, I don't know why. It's luck. It's not me. I didn't owe no credit for the parenting here. I think two of them were bullied in school when they were young. And they were like, fuck this. I'm gonna walk myself into more of this shit or take part in this? No. Anyway, that girl I told you about who goes by the initials KGM, the star plaintiff at 19 years old, Snapchat already settled with her. And one of the lawyers said, yeah, you don't settle, and I've always said that, you don't settle unless you don't want that stuff to be public. And the public doesn't really know what's coming. So something was revealed in the evidence. They looked at the discovery, and Snapchat said, let's give this woman some money here. Julia Duncan, an attorney with the American Association for Justice who is involved with this case, said some of the unsealed documents are going to show company employees admitting to the addictive nature of the platforms. Ooh, a lot of whistleblowers. Because of features such as infinite scroll, video autoplay, and the way recommendation algorithms are designed. No shit. For example, I mean, like Instagram, I fight to turn off Instagram at night to go to sleep. I fight and I lose. I have been going to bed later and later. You see this beautiful young face? No alcohol should mean chiseled jawline in every way. A little less sleep, even though I do sleep hard when I'm asleep. Wicked hard. Sleeplessness gives you bloat. I know. I had to whack the hair. Jesus. I mean, come on. I had to do it. Couldn't have too much. It's a lot of hair. Tech companies are citing, in their defense, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which is a federal law that exempts platforms from legal liability for content generated by their users. You're generating the content. We're just putting it out there. No, you're feeding this. The algorithm has gotten so damn smart. If I'm into like this Minnesota shit, I'm getting fed constantly. Trump, by the way, who's got all these guys donating, I just realized Trump has got all these tech CEOs donating billions of dollars, millions of dollars. They're helping to donate to build his East Wing, another thing he can put his name on. And this is, with all the money they're giving him, this is killing them. Because I don't know about you, but I'm getting a lot of Minnesota. And it knows that most people think that this is a federal government problem. And Kristi Noem is a phony. And Trump is in trouble. And you get more of that. I'm surprised he hasn't picked up the phone and called Mark Zuckerberg and said, stop. What are you doing? I'm going to punish you. Anyway. Yeah, my adult kids don't favorite social media. I mean, okay, let's see it.
Bill, the social media is a real wrestle with me with 15-year-olds and 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
I mean, but it isn't as cut and dry because you also they have to be part of the world that they're in. So if you just say no phones, no nothing, they're not in the world that they're in. So it's a daily battle. But switching topic, I saved a comment here that I thought you should respond to. I think it'd be really interesting. There you go.
Billy, how can Dean Cain remain a friend? Seriously. This is what Megan, I remember Megyn Kelly went off on Bryan Cranston. I said, oh God. I said, Megan, is my friend just looking to, stimulate the algorithm a little bit? Are you really pissed off at Bryan Cranston because he broke up a friendship over support of Donald Trump? I know Dean's a good person, and I think he's regurgitating talking points here. But I know his family. I know his father, Chris Cain, who's a director, and his mom, Sharon, who's just a shit ton of fun. Oh my God, you would love her. She can move a Chardonnay with one hand and hit the dance floor like you'd love her. I mean, she's just a riot. She's one of us. But he is, he's super pro law enforcement. He's taken a beating in his career. If Dean Cain was a sellout, he would be, he would be in all kinds of movies and sitcoms, and he's so charming. And remember he dated Pam Anderson for years. He was a stud running around town as Superman with all the ladies. But his beliefs are more important. So I admire him for his beliefs. I admire him to sacrifice, huge career opportunities to stand on those beliefs. Right? I disagree with him fully. I think in this situation, but there are a lot of things we do agree on. I do agree that I think he signed up for ICE for the right reasons. I do. I know he did. And he wants to get bad people away from children and protect them. He's a good guy. He went to Princeton. He's a smart guy. But it's not going to ruin my friendship. In fact, if anything, that deepened my friendship with him. He's wrong, and he's regurgitating a talking point because, like many people on that who support the president outright, it's that feeling of if you give an inch, they'll take a mile. You know what I mean? Like, don't give in anything because it's such a land grab. It's such a power grab. It's such a fight that all the things we do stand for that he is doing right or whatever, they go out the window if we give anything. And that's too bad. Gone is nuance. And I've always said gone is nuance. And that's just not a service to people. That's a service to power.
Right. You know, I don't agree with everything that Dean said, but what people don't know is that in the show, I had Dean in the back for your first 20 minutes. So I could see Dean. So Dean
He was watching me talk.
He saw everything that you said that he didn't agree with, and he was watching and listening and then came on. And I saw that in his reactions, you know, so that was
he knew watching me deliver a 19-minute monologue basically that I put together on this. You saw him backstage watching me going, okay, my friend Billy Bush does not agree with me in any way.
He knew all of it. He was right there waiting to come on, patient.
But how terrible would it have been if I was like, you know what, Dean Cain, fuck you, dude. And then I just push him aside. What would that have accomplished? Anywho. There's a great article in Puck. Raise your hand if you know Puck. Who has Puck? Which is a media service. It's fantastic. Kim Masters used to write for, Steve, is it Variety or Hollywood Reporter? Kim Masters or Vanity Fair? She was one of the big writers in the entertainment world. I think the Hollywood Reporter. And the Hollywood Reporter. And Kim Masters has left, and she is now writing for Puck, and she has put her hands on the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds situation. And she is tackling the major question of what happens to these two. They have gone all in, like psychotically all in, on taking down a B-level actor on the CW, Justin Baldoni. These two people, everything, and can't seem to get away from it. Oh, what an article. And I sort of feel like, if you're with me, let's read the article. You know what I mean? Is it story time? Chit chat with everybody. Pull up the comments, Steve. You'll handle the comments. And let's let Uncle Bushy read to the kids. Okay. Is Blake really unhireable? And can Ryan escape the blast radius by Kim Masters? The Deadpool actor takes a star turn in the latest batch of emails made public by the legal PR war between his wife and Justin Baldoni, providing an incredibly rare view into the ways an A-list star, who's also very much a ticked-off husband, can and cannot wield his power. Quote, Tom thinks she's probably and bizarrely unhireable right now. So wrote Sony Pictures Motion Pictures president Sanford Panich in an August 2024 email when the movie came out. One of a pastel recently released into the wild thanks to Blake Lively's ongoing sexual harassment complaint against Baldoni. Tom, of course, is referring to Sony Film Studio chairman and CEO Tom Rothman. So Tom thinks she's bizarrely unhireable right now. Yeah, the word bizarrely was invoked because the surprise hit movie, which cost about $50 million, more like 40, and was on its way to grossing more than $350 million worldwide, should have catapulted Lively to the next level of movie stardom rather than sweeping her up in a tsunami of negative publicity. Reading Sanford Panich's comment made me wonder, is Lively really unhireable? I asked a bunch of people who currently run or who have run studios what they thought about the accuracy of his assessment, which I'll get to, bear with me. Because after reading the emails and texts from Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, released in the same batch of Discovery material, I started to wonder what effect some of his heated exchanges with various players might have had on the perception of a huge star who has enjoyed a pretty pristine public persona. Reynolds' messages offer a highly unusual peek into how an A-list actor, who in this case also happens to be a gifted writer — I don't think so. I think his writing's ridiculously awful and over-intelligent. You know, sometimes John Mayer gets into over-intelligency, like leaning in too much to the prose. I think Ryan's a confusing writer, but anyway, Kim would know better because she's a gifted writer, or at least an influential one. Reynolds' messages offer a highly unusual peek into how an A-list actor wields words and power to cajole and browbeat those around him. What started with a Reynolds charm offensive in 2023 at the outset before filming, it ended with a Deadpool star raging at Sony executives and venting at his William Morris Endeavor representatives. At one point, he asked his agent Warren Zavala whether co-founder Ari Emanuel would go full Ari on Tom Rothman at Sony, as he felt the studio had not done enough to support Lively. Now, if Ari complied, it seems that would have happened in a phone call, although in the Freakonomics podcast last February, months after Reynolds' request, Ari did say, it's a fucked up bad situation with what, Bologna? Baldoni, whatever the hell his name is? Ari, remember that? Ari Emanuel blindly supporting Ryan Reynolds because he looked at his, let's look at the balance sheet. Who's bringing a lot of money to the agency? Bologna or Ryan Reynolds? That's it. That's the end of the road for Ari right there. He doesn't care. It's about the receipts, baby, not the email chain. You know what I'm talking about? The actual receipts. Sources told me that long before the latest batch of texts and emails became public, some of Reynolds' famous friends saw the publicity around his involvement with his wife's battle with Baldoni as a problem for him, and even discussed some sort of intervention, like to urge him to back down. Ryan, this is killing your career, they say. Imagine Bradley Cooper like, right. Whoa, you're really up in this. This is fascinating new stuff right here. According to Parrot Analytics, which tracks public sentiment via social media mentions and video comments, Ryan Reynolds has been on a swift descent over the past few years. In January 2023, more than 80% of public sentiment around him was positive. By the end of 2025, that figure dropped to just 20% positive. Hey, it's a cratering. That's despite Ryan Reynolds producing, co-writing, and starring in Deadpool and Wolverine, the second highest grossing movie of the year, 2024. Lively has fared even worse. Her positives dropped from a high of just over 80% in early 2023. I can't believe they were ever that high. To roughly 10% positive last December. But here's also something that's interesting. It's kind of universal hate. Positive sentiment for Baldoni dropped from a high of 64%. I guess the rest of the people didn't know who he was. In March 2024, he was at 64% to just over 5% by the end of 2025. So he's not like loved. Like he just goes like, he's just the fact that he's kind of an obscure person for these two to waste so much effort on. Asked for comment on Reynolds' words and deeds on his wife's behalf, a spokesperson sent this statement. Ryan Reynolds' spokesperson doubles down. Yes, Ryan got involved. What husband wouldn't support his wife and the mother of his children? Oh, so noble, Ryan. He saw his wife fighting daily to stand up against SH in a private and respectful way, only to face retaliation for doing so. Dun, 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 here comes Deadpool. If anything, Ryan feels like he wasn't angry enough. He passionately believes in and will stand up for the basic right to a safe workplace, free of harassment and retaliation for his wife and others. Then now and always. A lot of hot air. Oh my God. Now, reps for Baldoni did not respond to requests at all. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Before filming on It Ends With Us got underway, Ryan Reynolds sent Baldoni a message in February 2023, lavishing him with praise. Remember, he said, we are hardwired for keeping our family together. Thank you. We love you. We admire you. And he sets him up for a big, move your production dates so it fits my family travel schedule. He writes this creepy thing where he says, look, I completely understand it's a big ask for you to start 2 weeks early on your filming, but, I would have my face tattooed. Your line producer's face would be tattooed on my perineum if you can do it. That's his asshole. You know who introduced perineum sunning to us? Shailene Woodley. Do you remember that? The actress? She's like, I like a little tanning of the asshole. Thanks, Shailene. Although from her, it's a little more palatable than Reynolds. Anyway, he goes on with this whole perineum thing and makes, his little jokes about it. It feels, it's creepy. Fast forward to May 2020.
If I may interrupt, just a random side note there. Someone could actually take that as sexual harassment. You're writing an email talking about perineum, all that stuff. Sorry to jump in, but
yeah, you could. I'd just be like, delete. Not even responding to that guy. Perineum, whatever. Just say asshole, by the way. Don't give me the perineum. Fast forward to May 2024. Ryan Reynolds again doled out some praise, this time to Josh Greenstein, then co-president of the Sony Motion Picture Group. Now at Paramount, by the way, as co-chairman of the film studio. He's moved on, Josh Greenstein. Ryan said, you really pulled off a marketing triumph, man, referring to the Garfield movie's $35 million opening weekend. Ryan thanks him. Hey, thank you, by the way, Josh, for backstopping Blake's, vastly better version of the film. Remember, there was a editing war between Lively and Baldoni, and of course, Blake Lively won that. Sony went with her cut of the film. In language that would be lost on any studio executive, Ryan says, you have a lifetime supply of admiration, respect, and friendship from me. If there's any way I can pay it forward at any time, say the word, Josh Greenstein, and I will show up for you. Try me. And Greenstein, of course, responds, oh, God, would be a dream to have both of you and Blake making movies at Sony in the future. Ryan would soon sour on little Greenstein and kick him to the curb. He had believed, that Greenstein had promised to go on the record supporting Blake. All of this buttering up of your brilliant marketing of Garfield and all the wonderful things and friendship and admiration. There's a rub. Ryan expects him to go on the record, supporting Blake against Baldoni. Psycho. That was not in the cards. Greenstein didn't do it. After all, Sony was in a somewhat awkward position, right? It was distributing the film. 75% of the financing came from Wayfair. And Steve Sarowitz, who's a billionaire and works, co-owns it with Baldoni. So Sony's role was limited, but Reynolds and Lively could hardly turn to Wayfair to address their complaints about Baldoni, so they were kind of screwed. By the time the movie debuts in August 2024, the acrid aroma of discord between the filmmaker and the star had made its way into the public's nostrils. At the New York premiere, Baldoni didn't appear in any group photos with the lead cast members. We remember that. He was siphoned off to the basement. Ryan wrote to William Morris's Warren Zavala, his day-to-day agent over there, that Baldoni first saw the finished film at the premiere. He's like, can you believe this guy? It's baffling that he has this is what Ryan says about Justin Baldoni to his agent. It's baffling that he has the lazy-lidded confidence to even show up. He produced and directed the movie. In a more entertaining vein, Ryan Reynolds wrote in a congratulatory email to Colleen Hoover, who wrote the book on which the film was based. At one point, I was 3 feet from you at the after party, but I couldn't extract myself from the Sony Studios chairman's mouth. He's trashing everybody. All of his agents are watching Ryan Reynolds trash everybody at Sony, trash everybody, trash his own people. This guy is psycho. It's unbelievable what this guy's doing. This is where, ever more frustrated, Ryan Reynolds went up the ladder at William Morris, which also, represents Blake Lively. And he turns to Patrick Weitzel, then still executive chairman, parent company Endeavor, right? Weitzel's a big deal over there. I know him very, very well. The thing that I believe my wife and I are missing in this debacle is your rage, he wrote. I've never had anything but an intense love and admiration for William Morris and the entire company, but I've also never needed William Morris like I do at this moment. Patrick Weitzel, Ari Emanuel's partner at the top of William Morris, says, I'm sorry that you haven't felt the proper advocacy from us. I can assure you that going forward, that won't be the case. We had a conversation, Warren and I, tonight, and we'll be deploying in the morning with the town, okay? Telling Ryan they're going to help him out. Meanwhile, Reynolds still had not given up on Sony, in part due to the negative online reaction aimed at his wife. On August 17th, now the movie's out, it's kicking ass, it's doing well. Ryan Reynolds writes to Warren Zavala, his agent, they just need to fucking go straight at this. This is the most disturbing. Instead of celebrating the success of a movie that cost $40 million and is on its way to $350 million, psycho Ryan Reynolds is saying they need to go fucking straight at this. This is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in this business. Sony needs to step up for real. Enough is enough, in capitals. Warren Zavala responds, I plan to call Ari tomorrow and have him give his good friend Tom Rothman at Sony a call. To which Ryan Reynolds goes, yeah, please. All hands on deck here. They're going after this guy on the CW who made an incredible movie. Warren Zavala subsequently reported that he had talked to Tom Rothman. He gets back. We argued about a statement in which he said it isn't possible due to liability. We left it that he's putting himself in the studio into a position with you and Blake legally. I will have Ari talk to him. Ryan later replies, any update on Sony? Huh? And can Ari go full Ari on Tom? So all these people are like, what do we do with this crazy? We have this big client in Ryan Reynolds. What do we do? He wants us to go crazy. He wants us to open up a can of whoop ass on Sony over a film that's successful. If they fuck up everything and the film tanks, then the agents call and blast it. They're like, what? We have a giant hit on our hands. And you want us to call and go bullshit crazy on this chairman of Sony. Oh my God. Reynolds is obsessed. He's psychotic. But oh my God. Any update on Sony? And can Ari go full Ari on Tom? Warren Zavala's response. He will go full Ari on all of them for you. But we want to know what we're having him accomplish. He'll go the full Ari. But what's our goal here again? One thing Ryan Reynolds had in mind was a 3-paragraph statement that he, Ryan, the great writer, had scripted for Baldonian producer Jamie Heath, in which they would accept blame for the conflict with Blake and vow for the foreseeable future, our mission is to examine and re-examine the objectionable behavior and inadequate decision-making skills which clearly hurt and offended people who placed their trust in us. Psychotic Ryan Reynolds wrote that and said, here, this is you falling on a massive sword for Blake, my beautiful wife, who, again, all of this goes to the fact that Ryan is absolutely positive that there's no way Blake Lively's unpopularity with people could be of her own making. That the sleuths on the internet didn't just go find all the snarky, mean shit she said to people in interviews and the way she's condescendingly looked down on people, treated interviewers like less than. It couldn't be her. So it's Baldoni and all these people smearing her. I mean, for such an intelligent person, and Ryan does have a quick mind, that's a bit embarrassing. Boy, he is drunk on his wife, right? What do they call that? Something whipped? I'm not gonna, I forgot. So no such statement was ever released. Of course, Patrick Weitzel had a conversation with Jamie Heath, and they said, "Hey, Ryan wants you to release this statement." And Jamie Heath took a minute with his team and called back and said, "Yeah, that's not going to happen. We're not releasing that statement. I'm not putting my name perineum whipped." That's a good one. I got to put that up. Okay. So no such statement was released, of course, and now texts and emails that were never intended to be public are being dissected on Reddit. While Lively doesn't seem to be getting much sympathy online, all of the executives I polled thought she would work again. I would say she's still not unemployable, said one top film executive. In casting her, you would almost have to be playing into what the public now knows about her and thinks about her. Hollywood operates with a herd mentality. You have to be brave to go against the grain. That was true with Will Smith and the slap, and there's still some overhang with him. Oh, there's definitely overhang. But at some point, it will dissipate. There's awareness that she's not untalented, and the movie was a hit. At some point down the line, there's going to be an opportunity. Will she have to play a bitch, a character that's not so appealing, like she did in the character she plays in the big movie with Henry Golding that has like 4 sequels to it. Paul Feig directed. We all know what it is. Who cares? The second one was a piece of shit. The first one was okay. At some point down the line, most people think there will be an opportunity for Blake. I think it'll be down the line. I disagree. Meanwhile, Apple has been sitting on a finished Skydance movie called Mayday, a comedic survival story starring Ryan Reynolds and Kenneth Branagh together. They've been sitting on that for more than a year. The movie's finished. Ryan Reynolds is the star. They're not releasing it. It'll go straight to streaming, likely in September. Will that be enough? Distance? Apple declined to comment about it. Reynolds has other projects on the runway, too. He's an executive producer and a voice in Animal Friends from Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures, which drops in late May. Oh, you know what else drops in late May? The trial between Baldoni and Blake. Nice timing there. He's in production on Eloise for Netflix. Sources say Ryan Reynolds is also wisely focused on the next Deadpool movie, which will give him a chance to be seen as the public loves him most. But one source who was tasked with helping him fight this battle has been left shaking his head. He understood, he said, Reynolds need to support his wife and hold Baldoni accountable if she truly felt she'd been harassed. Having said that, if that isn't the case, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. That's according to a friend and associate of Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Anyway, let's finish that one last time. Sources say Reynolds is also wisely focused on the next Deadpool movie, which will give him a chance to be seen as the public loves him the most. But one source who was tasked with helping him fight this battle has been left shaking his head. He understood, he said, Reynolds' need to support his wife and hold Baldoni accountable if, in fact, she truly felt that she'd been harassed. But having said that, if that isn't the case, and maybe Blake is just winding up her husband, it's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. One of my sources who has worked with Ryan Reynolds for a long time has said that's his kryptonite. Blake is his kryptonite. She can get him to do anything. We all know relationships like that where they're just wound up, all up in the dynamic is that. And she can get him to do, say, feel, whatever. At no point is there, I'm the opposite. I'm in a relationship and I hear the person that I'm with doing the wrong thing. I'm the first one to be like, hang on, thanks, we'll be right there. Love you, thank you. Close the door. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Stop. That's what a real relationship is. This guy wants in but by the way, probably in his, his little sick mind, and in the end, in exchange, I own you deeper. Don't ever look at another man. I own you deeper. Ever. Don't look at another man, especially not that handsome Billy Bush. Don't do that. Now, did you see his haircut? Doesn't look good. I'm gonna say that. He's better with long hair. I will say that. He did cut his hair. Not that handsome. Yeah, and I'm taller. I know he wears full-length shirts and doesn't have the little untuck it shirt at the belt, but it's cute on me. Me and the Marcella from SNL also wears the untuck it. I don't understand that. Let's go to the chat and chat with our friends. Here we go. Boom. Yeah. Mila? Oh, what's this? Mila and Ashton are out of the corner, so Ryan and Blake can go stand in it. Even Amber Heard is testing the waters. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Let's do some. Steve, are you going to handle the chat or me? Because
I've been all over, but you said
sometimes it's you or me. I mean, but I'm going to read some.
I haven't touched any.
Do you want to do it or me?
Go ahead. You go for it.
I'll do it. Okay.
Yeah,
there's English Dick.
I've been riding it for the last 20, so you're in.
English Dick. There we go. Let's go over here. Yeah. That's what I hear. What the F are you doing? I don't know what she's talking about. Douche. Ooh, good spelling of that right there. Takes two to tango. You're not wrong about that. Hey, women have gotten men killed or jailed because of their stories. Yeah, please. Deadpool is Van Wilder in a costume. One trick pony, is that what you're saying? I know that's the point of the character, but he's the same as he was in A Guy and a Girl in a Pizza Shop. Whoa. What was the name of that girl? Trailer Howard. Ryan, that was the actress. Trailer Howard, Ryan Reynolds, and I can't remember the third guy, the other guy. Yeah. Does anyone know what the first steady acting role Reynolds had as an adult? I think that's it. Takes a guy and a girl in a pizza joint. Or something like that, I believe. I don't think it was Nathan Fillion. No. Richard Ruccillo was the guy. There's always two guys that do something major, and one of them does. Ruccillo is the Dunkelman. The Dunkelman of American Idol. Seacrest elbowed out Dunkelman and was like, there really should only be one of us. There goes little Dunkelman.
I'm more concerned how you remember Trailer Howard out of that movie.
Yeah. Billy, what are your thoughts on the PGA letter? Psychotic. Crazy. Blake's letter to the PGA. Producers Guild of America trying to get her producer's mark to be recognized as a big time, major producer. She literally wrote a list that's 9 pages long, taking credit for every possible angle of everything. I was, the moving to moving the potted plants, me. Craft services, me. I did it all.
Rivers says you should read the PGA letter for story time tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Story time tomorrow will be the PGA letter, but I need that set to music. Some light violins. Yeah. What did you say? Break out your tiny violin. Woo! The chat is flying with 100K. What does that mean? I don't know, but we are flying. We're hot. Hot, baby. Blake is manipulative. She did it to a lot of the cast. So it doesn't surprise me with Ryan. Oh, God, did you see Jenny Slate up there in Sundance Film Festival, whatever movie? She is so full of herself. And she's like waxing on about how she was on the debate team and she was a 4-time state debate champion. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's what everybody wants to know. Jenny Slate walks into every interview, every panel discussion, and there is a stiff rule that you are not allowed to ask the question that everybody wants asked. No one cares about anything else until you answer why you took Blake's word for it and jumped all over this guy. Amber Heard was at Sundance. Also, my nephew and his wife. I used to have a house that overlooked Main Street in Park City. So Sundance was always a rager at my house. Ragers, but I'm too old now. Thank God I sold that thing.
They're moving Sundance. It's like a big, huge story.
They're moving it to Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
What about the sexual jokes Blake and Jenny made? How is that not double standards? Yeah, no kidding. Well, we did it. We did it. Barrett's. Oh, okay. I'm reading something else. Steve, how about that?
Bill, that was a really good story.
Homan for the win brings peace in Minnesota. Firmly love Steve, chat, Billy. Okay, let's see, Sandy. Sandy, we'll give Homan a chance. Thank you for that.
Like that? Okay.
Sandy
Okay.
and the super chat. Homan for the win. He's there. We'll see. We'll see what if he can bring the temperature down. That's what leadership is. We out. Take me to the bridge. I'm gotta go make Steve a smoothie. Little Allman Brothers-esque. When is Steve going to play the drums for us, you know? I think he just has a drum set as a backdrop. I don't think he plays it. Honestly, I don't.